Hey, it's me, Maggie J, bringing you an in-depth recollection of a show called Cruel Summer, released by the Freeform Network as a 10-episode series in April of 2021. I've heard that a second season will be released, and if you're watching this video, a premiere date must be soon, so if you are someone who doesn't exactly remember what happened or didn't bother to watch but are still curious about the story, this is the video for you. I'm not entirely sure there is a good reason for a second season, but if there's gonna be one, I'll be ready. So settle in, this is gonna be a long explanation. Spoiler warning is in full effect, so stop now if you want to watch the mystery unfold for yourself. But don't forget to come back and tell me your thoughts on the series. So, in case you know nothing, this story unfolds over the course of 3 years, each episode focusing on certain dates in 1993, 94, and 95. The gist is, Kate Wallace is a pretty, rich girl who seems to have the perfect life. Yet to bloom, Jeanette Turner really wants to live that kind of life, unaware of all the turbulence that runs just beneath the perfect-looking surface. The girls have a few run-ins over the summer of 1993, but Kate is not really in the right headspace to make friends with Jeanette. She's dealing with issues of her own. Jeanette isn't hurting for friends, though. She's got her besties, Mallory and Vincent, and they've got a list of dares they're going to accomplish that summer. When school starts, most of the list has been completed, and Kate Wallace has gone missing. She is found before the next summer starts, so it's not immediately a tragic story, but by the end of the first episode, the crux of the series is revealed during a television interview with Kate Wallace. She claims that Jeanette Turner knew she was being held captive months before Kate was rescued. Jeanette denies this to the point that her parents hire a lawyer to sue the Wallaces for defamation. So basically the whole series revolves around finding out who is telling the truth. What happens in 1993 is bright and warm and sunny. It reminds me of the OC and its sun-soaked scenery. 1994 is when Kate is rescued, but she is mad, and it is very much Jeanette versus the world that Kate set on fire. So the lens looks a bit more blue. And by 1995, things are so dark and bleak, the scenes look like vignettes with blackened corners and severely dampened colors. There is nothing bright about 1995. I have been trying to figure out how to tell this story without giving you whiplash or having to continually tell you what year we're in, because the show skips around in time a lot. So I've decided to just tell you what happens year by year, which could prove tricksy. There might be spoilers and foreshadowing going on in previous years, and things that might seem moot when we are discussing the year of 1995, but it's just a risk I'm going to have to take. I hope it makes sense on your end, but if it doesn't, just let me know, and I'll call you and we'll discuss it. I think these are all the things that I need to tell you before we get started, so let's jump into 1993, the year of my youngest sister's birth. And she's nearly 30 now, so if you weren't feeling your age yet, you're welcome. Anyway, 1993, June 21st. It's the first day of summer. It's also Jeanette's 15th birthday. Her parents wake her up with the birthday song and a cupcake and candle. This is such a corny and adorable family tradition. It should make you cringe, but in a good way. This year, Jeanette wears glasses, has braces, her hair falls in soft waves, and she looks on the juvenile side of teenagerhood. Her appearance changes based on what year it is. That's why I include the description. Jeanette and her friends, Mallory and Vincent, decide to create a list of dares that they have to do that summer. At the mall, Jeanette sees Kate Wallace and is enthralled. She approaches and engages in conversation with Kate across the kiosk and tells her it's her birthday. Kate is nice and says happy birthday, but it's obvious she has no interest in carrying on any further conversation with Jeanette. Kate's boyfriend, Jamie, shows up, and these two kiss hello as Mallory and Vincent join back up with Jeanette and give her a present. It's a necklace with a rubber charm that says, "You go, girl." That night, Jeanette and her father Dan have a conversation about Jeanette's insecurities about not being so pretty or popular like her mom was. He lights a fresh candle, and she makes a new silent wish. The following day, Jeanette, Mallory, and Vincent start working on their dare list. First thing is to play hide and seek in an empty house. And Jeanette's father is a real estate agent, so they decide to steal a set of keys from his office and ride their bikes over to the address on the keyring. Jeanette is the seeker. Mallory and Vincent hide in a shower upstairs. While Jeanette is looking around, the new owner of this house, Martin Harris, the new vice principal of the high school as well, shows up and surprises Jeanette in the kitchen. She makes an excuse for why she's there, looking for something her dad left behind, and asks if they could look in the basement so the two upstairs would have a chance to escape. It's such a rush for them all. That night, Jeanette puts her You Go Girl necklace in the key to Martin's house into her jewelry box. June 26th. Kate is getting ready to go to an aerobics class with her mother, Joy. Jeanette and her mother, Cindy, are also at this class, and when it's over, the mothers bump into each other. Cindy invites them to make plans sometime, but Joy isn't a fan of the Turners, so nothing's going to happen between them. At home, Kate overhears her stepdad on the phone with a woman named Candace, saying he can't remember the last time they had sex. Concerned, she tries to bring this up with her mother, but Joy does not suspect her husband is up to anything. She is so much better than any other woman. He would never. The Wallaces head off to a football booster garden party. Kate sees her father go into an empty room with that Candace woman. She rushes to tell her mother again, specifically about Candace this time, but Joy laughs it off. Kate goes to find her father and walks in on him and Candace, planning a vacation for him and Joy. Kate rushes to apologize to her mother, but Joy is now mad and refuses to speak to her. Suddenly, Jeanette, Vincent, and Mallory attack the garden party with balloons filled with shaving cream and cause a mild hubbub. Kate uses this distraction to run away from the party. Jeanette sees her in the parking lot, looking sad and carrying a bottle of wine. So now Kate is sitting on a swing, drinking and crying about her mom. Scott, the lawn guy, happens to find her and helps her get home. She gets sent to bed, but shortly after comes downstairs for some water and hears Joy and Scott, the lawn guy, making out, and Joy telling him, "We've got to be more careful." Kate's starting to nose around. That sets Kate off, and she is sprinting out of the house, running down the street, drunk and barefoot. She stops to sit on a curb and cry a little, and up walks Martin Harris, asking if she's all right and can he help her. And that is how they officially meet. July 4th. Jeanette's mom suggests she gets contacts, but Jeanette is hesitant to make the change. While hanging out with Mallory and Vincent, Mallory reveals she stole some weed from her mother, which is one of the things on the list to steal something. Mallory also wants them to smoke the weed, but they get interrupted by Cindy, and Mallory is told her mother wants her to come home. While Mallory is away, Jeanette starts to get weird about having weed in her room, so she flushes the stash. When Mallory gets back and finds out, she is livid. She needed to give that back to her mother. Later on, Jeanette tells her mother about flushing the weed. Cindy assures her she did the right thing and talks about her heyday, being the most popular girl in high school. You can kind of tell she expects Jeanette to be just like she was, but Jeanette is not. So she keeps nudging her towards making changes to herself. Jeanette wants to be popular though, so it's not like a point of contention in their relationship, luckily for Cindy. That night, instead of going to watch the fireworks, Jeanette rides her bike over to Martin Harris's house and sneaks inside with the key. She looks through his bookshelf and finds a yearbook from Widow Falls High School, where he was the principal. She leaves with the book and shows it to Mallory to prove that she stole something. Mallory is psyched and forgives her for the weed flushing. Later, we find out Jeanette didn't actually flush the whole stash of weed. She kept one of the joints and puts that into her jewelry box. July 15th. Kate's stepdad Rod and his daughter Ashley are cleaning their guns, getting ready for a weekend at the lodge that Joy is super pumped about. It's not just the Wallaces going to the lodge this weekend. Jeanette's brother Derek, Kate's boyfriend Jamie, and Martin Harris are all there. Joy invited Martin after he walked Kate home when she ran off into the night a few weeks ago. They all spend the day skeet shooting. Martin looks uncomfortable the whole time. Kate gets Ashley alone and tries to confide in her about Rod's possible infidelity, but this pushes all the wrong buttons with Ashley. She says she'd suspect Joy of infidelity before her father, and she doesn't want to be sisters with Kate, so she needs to stop trying. I don't know why they made Kate talk about Rod instead of Joy. She actually caught Joy kissing the gardener. Why did Kate bring up Rod talking to Candace when we already know that that is a non-issue? The dialogue here in this whole scene is stupid and doesn't make sense to the plot. That night, Kate goes outside for some air or whatever and finds Martin out there looking at the stars. She sits with him and they talk about what the stars might look like on the other side of the world. He gives her a blanket. She tells him her family has a secret and it's weighing her down. He tells her his family secret. His dad committed suicide just before he was to finish high school. His advice to her is to pick her battles with her family. July 29th. Today is the day of the fair. Jeanette has to go on a date to fulfill another list item. Mallory has arranged for Gideon to join them at the fair as Jeanette's date. Mallory and Vincent went on a double date with some other people earlier that week, so they've already done that and we didn't get to see it. Also at the fair is Kate and Jamie. She tries to point out how her mother is behaving with Scott, the gardener guy, but by the time Jamie looks, Joy has stopped touching Scott, so there's nothing to see, and Kate is left looking a bit foolish. Martin Harris is running a game booth at the fair. Jeanette and Gideon walk up to play. She asks Martin if he's from Widow Falls. He says yes and is curious how she knew. She says her father mentioned it. She and Gideon play the game, but Kate's friends Tennille and Raquel walk by and start making fun of Jeanette, so she runs away from the game and Gideon. He winds up hanging out for a bit, waiting for her to come back, but eventually says he has to go home. Martin sees Kate and calls her over to his game. He lets her play a solo game so that he can give her a prize, a pink bunny. She says she hopes she's improved her image to him since she was a drunk mess when they first met. He tells her when he saw her at the garden party, she looked like she belonged among the adults. Knowing what I know, this scene skeeves me out because this is groomer language and it is disgusting. When she leaves, he picks up the scrunchie she left behind. He sees Jeanette, Mallory, and Vincent walking past. He calls Jeanette over to chastise her about abandoning Gideon earlier. Jeanette notices him holding the scrunchie and asks who it belongs to. He tells her Kate Wallace left it behind. He was going to give it back to her at school. She offers to give it back to Kate sooner, and he doesn't really have a good reason to not let her, so he's got to give up his trophy. At home, Jeanette practices what she's going to say when she gives back the scrunchie, imagining Kate will invite her to hang out. Then she puts the scrunchie into the jewelry box. August 15th. It's Jeanette's parents' 15th anniversary. Jeanette and Derek have prepared them breakfast, and everyone is so happy. Mallory and Jeanette are at the mall. Mallory has to steal something for the list. They're inside a dressing room. Mallory has a tag removal gun like a professional. Doesn't seem like this is your first time shoplifting, Mal. Martin Harris is also in this store buying some suits from Tennille's mom. Tennille is one of Kate's friends. The mom is working overtime trying to get him to agree to a date with her, so while they're both distracted, Mallory and Jeanette rush out of the store with their stolen items. As they approach, Vincent comes running out of the music store holding a CD in front of him, and security is already running towards them. Mallory runs away. Jeanette grabs the CD and tells Vincent to run, letting security take her to mall jail. There, she meets Kate's boyfriend, Jamie, who is in trouble for jumping into the fountain on a dare. Jeanette's dad shows up before these two can talk to each other too much. Security lets her go since it's her first time or whatever. After she explains she did it to cover for Vincent, her dad is not so upset with her, and they agree to keep this a secret from Cindy. While getting rid of a bunch of clothes she thinks that she's outgrown, Jeanette and Vincent discuss her stint in mall jail. She asks him if she thinks Mallory is making them do what she wants and being a bully. He says he doesn't want to talk about it. Again, Jeanette goes into Martin's house. This time she tries to steal a CD from his closet with a stereo inside of it. She's about to leave, but in comes Martin himself with Tennille's mother, trapping Jeanette in the closet. Tennille's mother is touching him a bunch and spilling all of her secrets for some reason. She tells Martin Tennille isn't her ex's child, but he's stuck paying the support for her anyways. Ha ha. This is real weird first date material. Suddenly, the stereo blasts on, giving Martin a reason to put some distance between him and the lady. Lucky for Jeanette, Tennille's mother finds the remote for the stereo and shuts it off just before Martin gets close to the closet door. When he turns around, he sees she spilled wine on herself and now must remove her top. Inside the closet, Jeanette is waiting for her chance to get the hell out of here, but without warning, the door swings open and she and Tennille's mom are shocked to see each other. Jeanette says, "I won't tell if you don't tell," and runs for the front door. August 29th. It's Kate's 16th birthday. She is happy and excited for what the day will bring. Jamie tells Rod he wants to give Kate a promise ring. Rod's not sure that's a good idea, though. Later on, Kate and friends are at the mall and meet up with Jamie and friends. A flask appears, and everyone except Kate has a little drink. Over the course of the shopping trip, Jamie continues to drink. At some point, he gives Kate the aforementioned promise ring, but she doesn't seem very happy to receive it. Probably because he's drunk and making a show of it. But even if she was happy about the ring, he made sure to ruin the whole day by spilling some of the flask's contents onto her dress and shopping bags, being too drunk to drive her home, then falling down in the grass outside the mall. She helps him up. He asks what her favorite gift of the day was. She doesn't say the promise ring, so he gets upset, but she's able to cover her mistake because he's drunk, and they start walking home. At some point, Jamie stops to pee in some bushes, and wouldn't you know, these are Martin Harris's bushes, and he comes rushing outside to find out who's messing around on his property. Jamie falls to the ground, and again, Kate tries to cover for him, but he is wasted and unable to get back up. Martin offers to take Kate home and to come back and deal with Jamie. She's already very late for the big dinner her mother was hosting for her birthday, so she agrees. In the car, she mentions her family secret is becoming too much, and he tells her to do what she needs to do. She finally makes it home, late as hell and smelling like booze, and her mother is beyond angry with her. Kate tries to defend herself, that she was put into a bad spot, that she's not a liar, but her mother keeps berating and belittling her. Kate gets angry and throws it in her mother's face that she saw what happened the other night after the garden party with her and Scott Jones in the den. Joy slaps Kate right in front of Rod, who says he's not going to get between whatever's going on with them. Kate runs to her room and starts packing a bag. Joy follows her, continuing her abusive tirade, telling her to go ahead and disappear until she realizes she can't live without her parents and comes crying home. Kate leaves with her overnight bag and heads straight to Martin Harris's house. She tells him she unloaded her secret and her mom hid her. She doesn't want to go anywhere her mom might find her. He invites her in, and that is the day Kate Wallace went missing. August 30th. Jeanette got her braces off. It is also the first day of school. Mallory insists that she, Jeanette, and Vincent finish their list by playing a prank tape during lunch. Mallory has it all planned out. She just needs them to help cover for her by watching the halls outside the AV room. Vincent is in the hallway and runs into Ben, the boy he has a crush on, who wants to talk. Vincent can't miss this opportunity, so they go into the gym and sit alone on the bleachers and talk about losing their mothers. Jeanette is in another hallway and she gets distracted by Joy marching through the halls like someone owes her rent money. She heads straight to Martin Harris's office and asks where her daughter is. He assumes Kate is at lunch and he makes a call to ask about Kate and finds out she was marked absent for the day. Joy wants to call the police, but he suggests she hold off. If she doesn't want a lot of fuss made, she should just wait for Kate to come home. Jeanette overhears all this and follows Joy out of the school into the parking lot and tells her if she needs anything, Jeanette is here for her. Joy scowls and says, "What would I ever need from you?" Oh, what a bitch. There's still a prank going on despite both the lookouts being distracted from their post. Mallory starts the tape on time, just after lunch period is over, so most people will be watching the afternoon announcements. But instead, they'll get to see some of their teachers getting clowned. It's only a few moments into the video when Martin Harris walks into the AV room and asks Mallory what is going on. He sees that he is on the screen at that time, coming out of his house and getting into his car that morning. He immediately stops the video and gives Mallory detention. She is upset and goes to yell at her friends for not doing their job. Jeanette tells her she is tired of Mallory being bossy and bullying them and always doing what she wants. Mallory asks if Jeanette even wants to be friends with them anymore. Jeanette says she didn't say anything about Vincent. Ouch. Jamie and Jeanette bump into each other while at school. He notices her braces are gone and says it was the greatest day of his life when he got his braces off. Jeanette, wanting to keep the conversation going, brings up Kate being missing, not just from school, but from home as well. He gets concerned and leaves school to go find her. Meanwhile, Martin Harris took the prank tape to his office to finish watching the video. The camera zooms in on the front of his house, and there is Kate Wallace standing in the window of Martin's house. Over at the Wallaces, Joy tells Rod she doesn't want to call the police yet. She wants to wait for her to come home, and then they can work on their infidelity issues. Fall. Almost the whole 9th episode shows us what happened inside of Martin Harris's house during the time when Kate was missing. I wasn't sure whether to go in chronological order of how things happened or whether to put this in at the end, but I think that this helps explain why Kate is the way she is during 1994, if we know what she went through. So, day 1. Kate goes to Martin's house after her mother slapped her for saying she saw Joy kissing the gardener. She is sad, wanting comfort, attention, someone to listen to her. They talk for a while, and she falls asleep on the couch. He covers her up and takes off her shoes. Day 2. This is the first day of school. Kate wakes up, looks around, finds Martin, and they have breakfast together. He asks if she can make it to school on her own. She agrees, and then he leaves for work. This is when Mallory gets video evidence of Kate being inside Martin's house after the last time she'd been seen by anyone, but she didn't notice, and now no one will notice because Martin stomped that tape into pieces. Instead of going to school, Kate spends the day going through Martin's things, getting to know him. She's got stars in her eyes while doing this. She's never been treated the way that he treats her. He must get her on a level that no one else does, right? She puts a pizza in the oven, trying to prepare for Martin returning home from work, but she forgot about it, and when he arrives, the pizza is burning. He's upset that she didn't go to school and tells her Joy came by to ask about her. They agree she has to go home before her mother reports her as missing. But before she can get her bag ready to go, Martin gets a phone call from a detective. Kate Wallace is officially a missing person. If she leaves now, she will be questioned, and she admits that she is a terrible liar. They would be found out for sure. She begs him to help. He lets her stay a little bit longer so they can figure out how to handle this, but they wind up drinking whiskey, playing Never Have I Ever, listening to music, eating pancakes. He's heavily flirting with her, leading her on with future plans that will never come to fruition. He plays it innocent at this point, not being too forward by being too touchy. He refuses to kiss her. This is all a manipulation to make him seem just out of reach, making her try harder and harder to earn his affection. These are advanced grooming tactics, which makes sense. He's already got her trapped. Now she's just got to feel like she's the one choosing to do all of the things that he wants. Day 21. Fast forward a few weeks and they are full on in the honeymoon phase of a romantic relationship. They're kissing and showering together and playing hide and seek inside the house. Day 38. Kate is still infatuated with Martin, hoping to fast forward to a time when no one will care about their age difference. An unexpected guest pops by. It's Jeanette's father, Dan, asking for help with a flat tire. He calls Cindy to pick him up and notices there's 2 coffee cups on Martin's living room table. Despite him saying he was alone, Martin says he's just not cleaned up for a few days, but Dan still assumes he's interrupted something and rushes out of there. Martin decides to put some drapes over the front door. Day 64. Today is Halloween. Kate asks if she can hand out candy if she wears a mask. Cabin fever is getting to her real bad, and she is dying to see anyone, talk to anyone. But he reminds her that would be bad. The police are close to labeling her a runaway, not abducted, so things would be easier for them if that happens. Martin can't have a mystery woman now handing out candy at his house while he's at a PTA meeting that night. P.S. Who scheduled this PTA meeting on Halloween night? Not a mother, I can promise you. But they'll do something fun when he gets home. At this point, she's still a willing captive, but she's starting to get bored and wants more than just him and this house to keep her company. Day 89, Thanksgiving Day. It's quiet. They've got less to talk about these days, possibly because she's a 16-year-old girl stuck in the house all day, and all he's got time for is paperwork from school. Day 118. It's Christmas Eve. She's been lying in bed all day. Martin brings her tea, but it doesn't ease her cabin fever or homesickness. They've reached the end of their honeymoon phase. She misses her family, seeing people, anyone. He has errands to do and leaves her in bed. While he walks towards the mall, some police pull up with their lights on and hop out of their car, yelling and running towards the building. Martin stops short and almost puts his hands in the air, assuming they're there to pick him up, but they run right past him, and he looks like he might need to go buy some new underpants. While Martin is away, Kate can't help herself from reaching out. She uses the phone in the living room to call Jamie's number. While it rings, she winds up a snow globe that starts to play a strained, warbly tune. An answering machine picks up and Kate's unsure what to say. She breathes heavily a couple of times, then hangs up. While Kate is on the phone, Jeanette uses her key to open the front door and sneak into Martin's again, knowing that he's out. Kate hears this happening, and thanks to Jeanette hesitating and getting caught up in the drapes over the door, Kate is able to silently run right past the front door, up the stairs and around the corner so Jeanette won't see her. Once inside, Jeanette looks around, sees the festively decorated room, and picks up the snow globe that is still playing that weird song. She hears a noise upstairs. Kate knocks something over, so Jeanette books it out the front door, but drops her You Go Girl necklace in the foyer of Martin's house. She rides away on her bike with the snow globe. Kate runs downstairs and picks up the necklace. She runs into the living room to look out the window and bumps into a table that makes a crashing sound. She pulls open the curtain to look out and sees someone on a bicycle. They appear to look at her and then ride away. She's sure the police will show up soon after this, but doesn't tell Martin about it when he gets home. That night, as Martin sleeps, Kate sneaks out of the house and goes to her parents. She looks through the window and sees them sharing a drink and a laugh. She turns around and runs right back to Martin's. The scene continues for us, though. Moments after they shared this cheerful-looking moment, Joy bursts into tears and asks if they can cancel Christmas dinner. She doesn't have it in her to be happy. Day 119, Christmas Day. Martin gives Kate a pearl necklace. She wears them and a nice red dress for dinner. He mentions she seems different. Maybe she's feeling guilty because she snuck out last night. He demands to know where she went. This is the first time she has been afraid of him. He tells her she can't do that again, not until she's 18. She says she wants to leave now. He reminds her that there will be consequences for both of them. She calls him her kidnapper, and he takes offense. He says her suitcase is in the basement if she wants to leave, so she goes down there to get it, and he locks her inside. All of these moments and memories are being discussed during Kate's therapy sessions, and during the session you can see the therapist stopping her and explaining that what was happening to her was manipulation, that she was being groomed by Martin every time he talked to her, so she shouldn't feel guilty for feeling like she wanted to be there, for agreeing to basically be his wife. She was a prime target for a predator, and he made her feel like she was adult enough to choose to be in a relationship with him. There's little she could have done to stop herself once he made her feel safe and seen. Her mother being violent just sped up the timeline. I like that they included this reassuring scene where Kate is directly told by an authority figure that this isn't her fault, no matter what decisions she made. It's important for people watching this to understand this point as well. I don't think they ever let anyone blame Kate for what she went through, and I think that is a very responsible way to structure this. That is basically all that we are told about Kate's time in captivity, aside from a few flashes that we get after she's locked in the basement. There is a lot that she doesn't remember and some things that she's really confused about. You can tell that being a prisoner with no outside interaction did a number on her head, which makes her an unreliable narrator and adds intrigue to this did she or didn't she dynamic. That was episode 9. Episode 10 takes place on October 3rd, and there's only 2 scenes from 1993, but they are scenes that reveal the entire plot. So I'm going to save those for later on, but now let's talk about 1994. June 21st. It's Jeanette's 16th birthday. This year, Jamie wakes her up instead of her parents. She looks different than the year before. 1994 Jeanette has straight hair, no glasses or braces, and generally looks more mature. Jeanette spends the day at the roller rink with the girls Kate used to hang out with, Tennille and Renee, and her new boyfriend, Jamie, Kate's old boyfriend. You really walked right into that life, didn't you, Jeanette? That night, Jamie walks Jeanette to her front door, and they hear a gunshot. This is not the kind of neighborhood that thing happens in, so everybody notices. But there's no more gunshots or sirens or anything, so they carry on. Jeanette gets ready for bed. We can see inside her jewelry box is that You Go Girl necklace. Can't really see any of the other things we know that she's put in there. I guess they mean it when in the opening credits they say these things happen on or about the date in question, because it is the day after Jeanette's birthday when she is at the mall with Kate's friends. Mallory sees her through the window and comes into the store to talk to an old friend. She's upset about Jeanette's changes over the last year and tells her, "Good job landing Jamie." Jeanette tries to be nice and defuse the situation, but Mallory is still upset. Vincent is stuck being an apologetic bystander. Later that day at Tennille's house, Tennille's mom calls her out of the room, and when she comes back, lets the other girls know Kate Wallace has been found. Alive! They head over to Jamie's house. Ben comes outside to try and send them away, but Jamie comes running out of the house, reaches over Ben, and punches Jeanette right in the face. She is crying and bleeding, and the other girls lead her away. Ben takes Jamie back in the house, and even after all this time, I am still very confused. What the hell was that for? A news report tells us Kate has been rescued and that her kidnapper, Martin Harris, the high school vice principal, was killed in a shootout. June 26th. Kate sits at her vanity, unable to care about doing her makeup. Her mother tries to help her get ready by shoving a pair of earrings through her closed-up lobes. Kate doesn't even flinch from the pain. Jamie comes upstairs and finds Kate taking a bath, but she's just laying in the tub, fully clothed, all the way under the water. He yanks her up and asks what she's doing. She says she wanted to wear her favorite outfit and take a bath at the same time. She asks how he and Jeanette got together. She needs to know if she was so easily replaced, so he explains that Jeanette was just there, over and over again. He assures her Jeanette didn't steal her life, but Kate does not look convinced. She finds it difficult to connect with her friends anymore. Tennille tries to dish about the latest gossip, saying Jeanette told a girl named Crystal she saw Kate chained to the wall at Martin's. This makes Kate mad because that never happened. Jeanette couldn't have told anyone about Kate. She had too much to lose if she was rescued, like her friends who suddenly became Jeanette's friends. The friends leave, upset that Kate is upset with them, not seeing the flaws in what they said. At this year's football garden party, Jeanette's brother is sent away due to some rumors going around that Kate Wallace is telling people Jeanette knew she was kidnapped months before she was rescued, so they don't want him to be there. He thinks this is ridiculous, but agrees to go away. Kate didn't even go to the party this year, so Derek being sent away from it feels extra rude. She is spending her night at home with Jamie. His pager goes off at some point, and she sees a message that says, "She'll meet with you at the park at 9 p.m. After Jamie has gone home, Kate turns on her computer and starts poking around in some chat rooms, trying to connect with some anonymous internet people she can share her experiences with. Jeanette meets up with Jamie to defend herself against Kate's claims. Claims about what, though? There's a bit of a plot hole here that I didn't figure out until I wrote out this description the way that I did. We'll discuss it later. Just know, you're already supposed to know that Kate Wallace is accusing Jeanette Turner of knowing that she was being held in Martin's house and didn't tell anyone for months. Okay, so now that you know that, let's continue. Jamie meets up with Jeanette. He asks if she saw Kate before she was rescued. She says of course she didn't. Then they kiss, and Kate witnesses this because she knew about the meetup and followed him. Sneaky. Kate then runs to the police station, finally ready to give her statement. That Jeanette Turner saw her in Martin's house on Christmas Eve, and she has proof. She pulls out Jeanette's You Go Girl necklace that was dropped in Martin's house. Kate picked it up and has kept it hidden this whole time. July 4th. Jeanette's mother, Cindy, is having a hard time accepting that some people believe her daughter is guilty of what Kate says. And hearing that Kate might go public with her story, she's worried what that will do to Jeanette's reputation. Derek points out that he's been uninvited to several parties, Dan has lost at least one real estate listing, and asks if she believes Jeanette. Cindy says she does. These are just horrible rumors going around about her daughter. Meanwhile, Jeanette is laying on the couch and overhears this conversation, realizing things are getting bad for her whole family. Derek finally tells Dan it was Jamie who punched Jeanette in the face, and the father insists that they go to his house. Jamie's mother overhears them discussing him hitting a girl, and Dan tells Jamie to never get near his daughter again. Jeanette is called into the police station and questioned. They show her the necklace Kate gave them. She admits she had one like it, but she threw it away a long time ago because she's no longer friends with the person who gave it to her. Except 2 episodes ago, we saw it in her jewelry box. So, another plot hole here, or misfire, whatever you call it. It's a fuck up. At the video store that Vincent works at, Kate comes in to rent a selection of horror movies. He thinks that's weird, but Mallory thinks it might be cathartic for her. Ben picks up Vincent from work. They're going on a trip to a place they read about on the internet. They slowly make their way inside, where they are free to be themselves, and they slow dance the night away. The bartender knows they're well underage, but she lets them stay. At least they're safe there. Jeanette goes with her parents to the fireworks. Plenty of people feel the need to whisper to each other once they notice the Turners. Eventually, she is able to talk to Jamie alone again, and he is in a much different mood than the night before. He doesn't believe Jeanette didn't know about Kate. He is back together with her now, and they are not breaking up. He asks how she knew Kate was missing before anyone else. Remember she told him she saw Joy at the school and told him Kate was missing way before Kate was reported missing? She tells him to screw off and walks away. July 15th. Kate notices her parents redecorated the dining room while she was gone. She goes to see her counselor and talks about not feeling comfortable in her perfectly decorated bedroom. This discussion is juxtaposed with a scene of her physically destroying all of her decorations and baubles. She doesn't belong to that world anymore. On her way out of the session, she runs into Mallory in the waiting room and makes an excuse for why she's there. Mallory says her secret is safe. It shouldn't need to be a secret, but she won't out Kate for seeing a therapist. Mallory shares that she is there because her parents are divorced, and some other reasons, but she doesn't want to compare traumas. Kate asks if Mallory is supposed to be talking to her, since she's Jeanette's best friend. Mallory says they're not friends anymore, so Kate opens up to her about seeing Jeanette kissing Jamie, and that the police are about to catch Jeanette in her own lies. Since they're confessing, Mallory tells Kate she used to really dislike her, but not so much now. At the police station, Kate and Joy are told they have no criminal case against Jeanette. At home, Kate finds stepsister Ashley looking at stuff on Kate's computer. Ashley apologizes for being a crappy sister, but Kate remembers last year's hunting trip and reminds her they're not sisters. Kate kicks her out and gets on the computer, still searching for someone to connect with. Ashley goes to the park and meets up with Derek. He believes Jeanette is innocent. Ashley can't say the same about Kate. He inspires her to create an online profile to use to talk to Kate. July 29th. Jamie takes Kate to the fair on teen night. She's a bit gloomy and asks him why he was kissing Jeanette in the park the other night. He tries to deny he even met up with her, but Kate tells him she followed him and saw it happen. He still denies, so she jumps out of the car in the parking lot and heads on into the fair. Once he's parked, he chases Kate down, apologizes for seeing Jeanette, but swears that he didn't kiss her. He asks if she is sure her memory just isn't hazy after all she's been through. You gaslighting bastard! She refuses to give his lie any credence and breaks up with him on the spot. Hell yes, girl! Dan comes home to find Cindy is day drinking and watching trash TV, upset that her car got spit on while she was in town. Dan says he's going to pick up some movies. At the video store, a woman rushes in, apologizing for hitting a car in the parking lot. Dan's car. She says she's new to town and searching for rentals, so Dan slides her his business card. Real estate agents never rest. Jeanette finds Kate at the fair. Kate and Mallory run into the Monkey Maze funhouse and try to lose Jeanette. It takes a few minutes for her to make her way through the house, but when she comes out the exit, the only familiar person Jeanette can find is her brother Derek. He tells her the Wallaces always win, but he's on her side. Aww. August 15th. It's Dan and Cindy's 16th anniversary. Jeanette has made breakfast, but Derek is cynical that they'll even care. We can hear her parents in their room, quietly arguing. The doorbell rings and a gift basket is delivered. Cindy rushes out and thinks it's from Dan and feels bad for arguing with him on their anniversary. But the card is from Angela, the woman Dan met in the video store last week. He helped her find a place real quick, so she sent this basket as a thank you. Tennille's mother lets her know Jeanette keeps calling. Tennille refuses to speak to her, though. Tennille's mother has some people coming over to watch her interview with Molly Green about Martin Harris. Remember how they went on a date last year? Yeah. Cindy keeps receiving harassing phone calls at home and eventually decides to search Jeanette's room. She finds nothing, not even inside the jewelry box, but taped to the bottom of the box is a key. When Jeanette gets home, her mom asks if she's been inside Martin's house. Jeanette says no, those are just rumors. When Dan gets home, Cindy tells him she knows Jeanette is lying. She found a key she thinks goes to Martin Harris's house. Dan sticks up for Jeanette. He knows she's not involved in this, and no, they cannot go to Martin's house to check if the key works. Cindy tries to talk to Derek about this, but he refuses to listen to anything contrary about his sister. Vincent and Ben are standing very close to each other at the video store when Jeanette comes in. Vincent asks her to pretend she saw nothing. She agrees if that's what he wants. She's happy if he's happy. Tennille and Renee come into the video store. Somehow, Tennille's mother's interview is on the store's TV. She asks Vincent to turn up the volume. Tennille's mother talks about the date she and Martin went on where she spilled the wine on herself and says he got very forceful with her before she managed to get away from his house. Jeanette blurts out that she's lying, and Tennille gets mad. Jeanette tries to apologize and take it back, but the damage has been done. And not just to her. Her family's suffering continues to worsen. Dan's losing listings and contracts. Nobody wants to deal with him. Even at home, Cindy and Dan continue arguing about their futures. She tells him she wants to go to flight attendant school, but Dan doesn't respect her decision to do that, or her opinion about Jeanette knowing about Kate being at Martin's house. She yells that he doesn't take her seriously, and she's going to stay with her sister. We see each of the parents, at different times, use the key at Martin's house, so they both know that the key does open the door, and that their daughter had it. August 29th. It's Kate's 17th birthday. She has found and grown closer to an online friend and is divulging everything she has been and is going through. Joy and Rod try to talk her into going on the Marsha Bailey show, but Kate refuses to do that. Mallory shows up to Kate's looking a little nervous. Joy answers the door, surprised to see her, but Kate is overjoyed that Mallory showed up and pulls her inside the house. Roy offers to make them snacks, and they agree, though Kate's not been eating much lately. A trauma response to her time in captivity. Mallory suggests they smoke some weed and see if that helps with Kate's appetite. Soon enough, they're both lying on the floor, giggling, and eating all of the snacks Rod made. Ashley comes in to see what they're doing. They invite her to smoke a joint and watch movies. Aww. Kate and Mallory go to the video store. Vincent asks what she is doing with Kate. That's weird. While watching their rented movies, Kate has a reaction to one of the scenes, a woman being chased by a man. She gets closer to the screen and starts crying and yelling at the woman to be faster. He's going to catch her. So, movie time is over, and Mallory has to go start her job at the roller rink. Joy asks Kate again to go on the Marsha Bailey show, but she's still holding firm on not doing that. Rod tells her not to count out the show just because it's Joy's idea. Joy comes rushing back into the room, insisting they turn on the news. Someone from Widow Falls is claiming to be a previous victim of Martin Harris. Kate is not concerned. He told her about this girl. He helped her after school. He did nothing inappropriate with her. She's just mad and trying to compare her story to Kate's. Wow, girl. Her mother tells her to go on the show and set the record straight, and Kate finally agrees. Congrats, Joy. August 30th. It's the first day of school again. Jeanette and Vincent ride together, but aside from him, she's not finding many friendly faces. Jamie is lurking around school, watching Jeanette. Vincent tells him to leave her alone. He's part of the reason she's being treated like trash. Jamie goes to sit in his car and starts drinking out of a small whiskey bottle. At home, Jeanette hears her dad on the phone to her mom, saying she was right. Will she come home now? She says no. He turns his attention to Jeanette and tells her he knows she's lying and they are going to go to the police. Later, Dan is at a bar when Rod comes in to ask for change. He gives Dan a death glare, and I'm sure the sentiment is the same on both sides. At the end of the school day, Jamie has finished his flask. Ben hops into the passenger seat, asking if Jamie can take him to the field for practice. Jamie agrees, but drunk Jamie isn't really thinking about going to the field. He's got to go see Jeanette, so instead of dropping Ben off at practice, Jamie takes off, heading to Jeanette's house. A few blocks away, he plows into another vehicle, causing some serious injuries to his best friend Ben. Jamie is arrested on the scene. Vincent rushes to the ambulance to check on Ben, who has a bloody shoulder. Other students are gathering. Vincent takes Ben's hand and offers to ride with him. Ben pulls his hand back, though, and tells Vincent he's sorry, but no. October 3rd. Today is the day of the Marsha Bailey show. This is when Kate makes the public accusation that Jeanette Turner saw her while she was being held in Martin's house on Christmas Eve, and she wasn't rescued until 6 months later. Jeanette is home watching this and is stunned to hear her name coming out of Kate's mouth. Later on that night, she cuts her hair very short. 1995. June 21st. Today is Jeanette's 17th birthday. Her father wakes her up by saying, "Your lawyer is here." "Which one?" she asks. What a world of change. She spends the day at home watching old news coverage of Kate's disappearance. Jamie is sitting in his car in front of his house, looking wrecked. Dan's new girlfriend, Angela, the one who hit his car while he was at the video store, she works at a bar and spends some of her time off here at the Turner house. Jeanette doesn't like her much, but she's not given her much of a chance. Probably still holding out hope her mother will come home and forgive her, but Angela extends Jeanette an olive branch for whenever she is ready to take it. At Jeanette's lawyer's office, she is warned her attitude isn't likable. That's not good for her case, but she's still so upset about the whole situation. She tells them about the harassment and hate she is going through, how she finds it hard to be happy and smiley like Kate. She does agree, though, and actually works on her demeanor by watching and copying victim reactions from crime dramas. June 26th. Kate has pierced her belly button and proudly shows it off to her father. He isn't judgy about it, but says he could never do such a thing. Joy still isn't happy about a dang thing Kate does, so she doesn't care if her mother likes it. Vincent's boyfriend Ben meets with Jeanette's lawyer to unofficially discuss his side of the story. He doesn't know exactly what to believe, but he thinks that Jeanette is somehow to blame due to decisions she made a long time ago. Weird take, bro. At this year's garden party, we see yet another side of Joy Wallace. She is now tired of all that life has been piling on her for the last 2 years, and she looks like it. Kate is still using the chat rooms and has kept that same online friend she's been talking to for a year now. Their logs show she's not been completely honest with the story she's been telling. Uh-oh, Kate. Jeanette decides to sue Kate for defamation. July 4th. Jeanette and Kate wind up side by side at a stoplight. Kate jumps out of her car to confront Jeanette. Jeanette has to take an emergency right-hand turn to get away from Kate. Police are called on Jamie. They take him home and tell him to stop stalking the Turner family. Vandals continue wreaking havoc on the Turner property, spray painting all kinds of abuse around and leaving messes on the yard. Jeanette continues practicing how to be a sympathetic victim. Vincent meets with Jeanette's lawyers. He vouches for Jeanette, saying she doesn't lie. She's not a liar. He has no reason to not believe what she says. The other lawyer asks how many times has Jeanette been inside Martin's house. He only knows of one time, so that's what he tells them. That night, Jeanette heads out to go to the fireworks. Her dad asks if that's a wise idea, but she leaves anyways. Don't worry, Dad. She's not going to the fireworks. She's going to Martin Harris's house. Again. What in the world, girl? While she is there, Vincent shows up. He asks her how many times she's been in this house, and she admits, a lot. July 15th, Kate's lawyers meet in the Wallace's dining room, preparing for their court battle versus Jeanette. They will go over every detail she knows. Later, Mallory and Kate are in Kate's room, smoking weed and talking shit about Jeanette. Joy interrupts their slam session to let them know someone has put a note on their front door. It says, "Liar," in big bold print. They brainstorm who could have done this. Kate doesn't really care much, but Joy reminds her they've leveraged all they have to pay for these lawyers, so she should start caring about what happens to them after this. The Wallaces decide to go to the lodge again to try and build community support for Kate with a whisper campaign. However, Kate brings Mallory with her, and they both refuse to shoot or eat meat while they're there, so she's not exactly being the most sympathetic of victims here, among this crowd at least. When they're alone, Joy asks Mallory if she made the liar note, and Mallory denies that she did. But Joy still doesn't trust her. Mallory tells Kate about this, so Kate gets upset and joins her parents and their friends while they sit by the fire. She tells them a story about a girl named Annabelle who was alone in the woods until she wasn't. She was stolen and abused by someone the adults trusted and said was a good person. Sounds an awful lot like her abduction story. She warns them, the adults, they better have their stories straight. Yikes, girl. Kate tells Mallory she wants to listen to her therapy tapes to make sure she has her memories straight. In one session, she talks about meeting Annabelle. Just before her rescue, Martin came into the basement and he was different. The therapist asks who is Annabelle, but Kate can't remember. July 29th, 1995. Jeanette is doing her best to keep public persona Jeanette likable and motivated. She asks her dad if he is on her side, and he is appalled. He's lost everything to be on her side. He will testify she is perfect. Are you on your own side? He counters. Kate is chatting to her online friend when Mallory climbs through the window, surprising her. Kate talks Mallory into going to the fair to confront Jeanette. Eventually, she agrees to go. Angela takes Jeanette to the bar she works at to help Jeanette unwind. They drink age-appropriate drinks. They sing some karaoke, but while singing and dancing like she doesn't have a care in the world, Jeanette starts to get overwhelmed, starts to feel all of her feelings at once. Angela speaks gently to her and calms her down. She tells her she's got to come out of her shell more often. Maybe after this trial is over, Ange. Kate and Mallory are at the fair, looking at the monkey maze that they lost Jeanette in last year. Kate pulls out her therapy tape and Walkman and listens to herself tell the therapist about her trip to the fair in 1993, when Martin gave her that pink bunny prize. Kate is starting to understand she was being groomed from the moment that they met. Kate runs into Jamie. He is drunk again. He admits she was right about the kiss with Jeanette. He lied. He was trying to protect Kate. He messed up. He's sorry. She kisses his cheek and leaves. Good choice. Mallory and Kate break into the cemetery to bury that bunny Martin gave Kate on top of his grave. Then Kate takes out some of her rage by using the shovel to beat his headstone into pieces. August 15th. This would have been Dan and Cindy's 17th wedding anniversary, but they are not together anymore. Jeanette is at home watching home movies of previous anniversaries, but stops when she sees Angela standing in the doorway. Jeanette says she's not missing her mommy. She misses her dad, who he used to be. That's different. She thinks the change is her fault for being someone who could have gotten themselves into this position, and that made him change. She wonders if she should have stayed nerdy old Jeanette. Angela tells her to never lessen herself for others. I like this lady. I think she's the right kind of person Jeanette needs right now, so I'm glad she's here. Jeanette's lawyer stops by to say Tennille's mother is being deposed, so the defense must think she has something important to add to their side. Vincent stops by, and Jeanette asks if he would distract the paparazzi outside so she can slip out the back. She's out. Jeanette goes to the mall to confront Tennille's mother. Remember when Jeanette was in the closet at Martin's house and overheard Tennille's mother tell him about Tennille's paternity? Yeah. Better hush up there, Tennille's mother. I really don't care to remember what her name is. Jeanette goes back home and plays cards with Vincent and her father. And wouldn't you know, the deposition is a dud. Cindy stops by Angela's bar to celebrate her old anniversary. She admits she also wants to know how Jeanette is doing. She refuses to speak to Cindy anymore. These two talk for a while, and in the end, Cindy really likes Angela, and it's a good, friendly interaction. Right up until Angela adds some unnecessary information to Cindy's drunk mind. I didn't steal your husband, she says. You left. Is that what he told you? Cindy asks. Oh, there's more to this story. August 29th. It's Kate's 18th birthday. She has finally found the part in her tapes where she talks about Annabelle. She asks Mallory to listen with her. On the tape, she claims she can't remember Annabelle and then has a panic attack before the tape cuts off. Mallory tells her to stop focusing on this. Besides, she's got a surprise planned, and they've got to go. Mallory takes her to the roller rink. Mallory has become the assistant manager and can shut this place down for maintenance anytime. So it's just the two of them here this afternoon, having the greatest time. Kate says this is her best birthday ever, and it certainly looks like she has had all the fun. At Kate's house, Mallory finds a printer in their bin full of stuff to be donated and asks if she can have it. Kate says, of course, it's in the donation bin. So Mallory opens this one up, trying to see if there's anything obviously wrong with it, and finds a paper jammed in the rollers. She pulls it out and says, liar, and big bold print, just like that note that Kate's mom found on their front door. Kate immediately goes to yell at her mother, deservedly, because what kind of a psycho behavior is this? She's also mad at Joy because through her therapy, she's learning that a lot of the ways her mother parented her was very manipulative and made her into someone craving true affection, which made her the perfect target for predators like Martin Harris. Ouch. Joy continues to defend herself, saying she needed to get Kate to take the lawsuit quote, seriously, which on some level Kate understands. So I think that they are able to empathize with each other a little bit more after this whole airing of grievances. I really hope Joy understands Kate more. She can't keep manipulating her daughter into doing what Joy wants. That's how they wound up here. I think while all of this is going on downstairs, Derek and Ashley are upstairs doing things that college kids do behind closed doors. After that, she decides to go for a shower, and he says he's going to check his email on her computer. He stumbles upon her chat log and quickly figures out Ashley has been chatting with Kate Wallace for this last year. He prints out their chat logs and then heads home with them. Whoa, bro. Way over the line. I don't know how he was able to print these out without her hearing the printer. The printer that had the liar note jammed in inside is one of those old school dot matrix printers with the paper on the holes on the side. Those things are loud as hell. And a year's worth of chat logs that would take hours to print out. But here we are, without a warrant or subpoena or chain of command at all. I just have to call out the ridiculousness when I see it. Anyway, he takes the printouts to Jeanette and says, this is a conversation between Kate and her stepsister Ashley. August 30th. Jeanette shows her lawyers the chat logs and sees a message that Kate went to Martin's willingly. She later goes to meet with her mother at a diner. Cindy brings her a nice gift, but Jeanette is very cold to her. Cindy asks if she wants to be the kind of person who sues a kidnapping victim. Holy cow, Cindy, are you working for the Wallaces? While Jeanette is leaving, Jamie ambushes her on the way to her car and asks if she will come by his garage later to talk to him. She doesn't agree, but later we see she does show up. She yells at him for turning on her and punching her in the face. He apologizes, but it's kind of worthless now, unless he can be on her side. Angela tells Dan that Cindy came to see her at work and wants to know why Dan hasn't been honest with her about Cindy's leaving, about Jeanette's involvement in Kate's disappearance, that Jeanette had a key to Martin Harris's house the whole time. Cindy told Angela that she only wanted space. Dan has been the one shutting her down since she went to stay with her sister. Angela doesn't want to come between people who are meant to be together and offers to get out of the way, but Dan doesn't want Cindy to come back. He assures Angela she is the person he wants to be with. He and Cindy have run their course. In his garage, Jamie tells Jeanette how the accident with Ben happened. I will tell you about that later. They commiserate over waking up and having to remember the awful things that they have done to others, making sure that each day is ruined before they're even out of bed. He also tells her on Christmas Eve, while Kate was missing, he got a message that was just noise and thought that it was her. Jeanette asks to hear the message and recognizes the song in the background. She rushes to Mallory's house and asks her to give back the snow globe. Mallory claims she doesn't have it anymore, but after she has shut the door, she pulls the snow globe from a box from under her bed. October 3rd. Their day in court has arrived. I think I have saved all of the events of October 3rd for this segment, and here is where the whole mystery is unraveled. Okay, so they both go to court, swarmed by media and paparazzi. There is $11 million on the line, and the question is, did Kate Wallace defame Jeanette Turner? That night, after opening arguments, Jeanette and Jamie hang out a little bit. They're not exactly romantic, but more supportive of each other. But I have a feeling they'll wind up back together once this is all over. Kate talks to her online friend, as usual. Neither of them know anything about their logs being printed out. The next day, Jamie goes to apologize to Ben, who isn't interested. So Jamie speaks up for Vincent. He did nothing wrong, and he shouldn't be punished because Ben is mad at Jamie. Ben's expression shifts after that, and Jamie leaves him to think on that. The second day of the trial, Kate is on the stand. She says she was picked up by Martin, drank a drugged soda, and woke up in his basement. Jeanette's lawyers submit the chat log and ask her to read a section of it, where an online handle she says is the one she uses tells the other person in the chat that she, Kate, went to Martin Harris's house willingly. After court, her lawyers talk to her about the chat log, and she finds out she was talking to Ashley the whole time, and this log being made public is terrible for their defense. Kate tells Mallory she's crushed by finding out her friend is actually her sister. She thought she found someone like her, traumatized and trying to heal, but it was all a lie. She's still missing pieces of her puzzle, and she's ready to try what her therapist has been suggesting. Ben stops by the video store to apologize to Vincent. Vincent is glad to see him, but still upset Ben pushed him away for so long. Ben says he was wrong for how he reacted. He's realized what he wants now, and he's going to keep trying until Vincent forgives him. Oh, good answer, sir. Then we cut to Martin Harris's house. Kate is already inside, looking around at where she was held captive for 10 months. Jeanette crawls through the window and asks, "This is really where you wanted to meet?" Kate tries to reason with Jeanette about the lawsuit. This will ruin Kate's family, and Jeanette is playing dirty, so she should be careful carrying on like this. Jeanette defends herself well, saying Kate is the one who started this. Saying her name during that interview ruined Jeanette's life, and this is all due to that. They bicker back and forth a bit. Kate says Jeanette stole her life. Jeanette says Kate didn't even want that life. She spelled it out in the chat logs multiple times. Jeanette is not going to back down. She's got nothing else to hope for except that she wins this case. Kate has some info to bargain with, though. She knows Jeanette came into Martin's house on Christmas Eve, 1993. But this info still works in Jeanette's benefit because how could Kate know Jeanette came in through the front door if she was locked in the basement? Jeanette maintains her story. She never saw Kate inside of Martin Harris's house. She came in, took the snow globe from the living room, and left on her bicycle. Kate explains the scene from her angle, where she ran to the living room window, tripped over a table, made a crash noise, and when she looked out the window, someone on a bicycle, they had their hood up, but they saw her through the window, then rode away on their bicycle, the playing card in their spokes clicking away. Hold on a second, though. Jeanette's bike doesn't have a playing card in their spokes. That's Mallory's bike. Kate assumed it was Jeanette because after the garden party where Jeanette, Mallory, and Vincent threw the shaving cream balloons, in the rush to get out of there, Jeanette hopped on Mallory's bike. So when Kate saw them in the parking lot, Kate saw her on the bike with the playing card in the spokes and assumed that it was her on the bike the whole time. Kate realizes what happened and apologizes to Jeanette for everything. Jeanette asks what happened in this house. Kate says she and Martin started off as friends. He was fascinating, treated her nicely. They slowly became more than friends, and everything was wonderful. But then it all got dark. She asks if Jeanette will go with her into the basement. Maybe she can unlock some memories about Annabelle. Jeanette agrees. I got a little worried here. What is Kate going to do to Jeanette in the basement? She was here before Jeanette showed up, you know. But Kate is actually looking for answers. She has blocked out almost that whole last day she was in captivity. Down in the basement, it's pretty much empty. There's a bloodstain where Martin died. Kate tells Jeanette what she remembers. Martin brought a box downstairs with him. He told her the police came by today. Soon they'll be back with a search warrant and everything will be over then. He opened the box and introduced her to Annabelle, a revolver that's been passed down through his family line. This is the same gun his father took his life with. Kate thinks he's there to kill her, to put an end to this in that way, but he puts the gun to his own head. He can't pull the trigger though. He throws it to the floor and is tormented over his options. Take himself out now or let himself be arrested very soon. Kate picks up the gun, points it at him, but also can't pull the trigger. He talks her down, trying to convince her to not shoot him. Somehow, even knowing what punishment is in store for him, he pleads for his life. He tells her it's just them. They'll find a way. Put the gun down. She loves him. And bang! She pulls the trigger, and sometime the next day, she called the cops from the phone upstairs. She starts blaming herself, saying she killed him. She's the bad guy. Jeanette should sue her. She didn't deserve any of this mess that Kate got her into. She should take the money and run. But for Jeanette, it wasn't about the money. It was about the truth. She just wanted to know what it was like to be Kate. Popular. Beautiful. Enough. The next day, Kate goes back to court to give a press conference. She says she now knows Jeanette Turner didn't see her inside Martin's house. Jeanette is a victim here. She refuses to answer the journalist's questions about whether she is a liar or if she feels bad dragging an innocent name through the mud. Mallory is at home, packing in a hurry. Kate stops by and asks where she's going. Mallory knows Kate knows it was her who saw her in Martin Harris's house on Christmas Eve in 1993. Kate asks why she didn't say anything. Mallory explains she didn't see a woman in captivity when she saw someone in the window. She didn't know it was Kate. She assumed it was someone who came to visit. It looked like the person in the window was enjoying herself with the TV on and the room decorated so nicely. Kate understands this explanation. She tells Mallory she was half right. Mallory tells her she's jumping on the next train out of here, but Kate wraps her in a hug and tells her, "Don't you dare." 1 month after all this happens, Jeanette is now on the Marsha Bailey show, getting an apology for what happened to her after her name was mentioned live on the air. Kate and Mallory are at Kate's watching the show, but they decide to go for a drive. They know how this story goes. Jeanette dropped the lawsuit against Kate. She was always only after the truth. And now that the truth is out there, their parents can be responsible for a lot of outrageous legal debts and be happy about it. At the end of this interview, Jeanette tells Kate she forgives her. Then some poppy music plays, and that's the end of the interview. Mallory and Kate are parked somewhere, dancing in the street. Then Kate plants a great big kiss on Mallory's lips, and they're both ever so happy for the future. Congratulations, girls. Isn't it nice when everything works out so well for almost everybody? Aww. Before the credits roll, we are given one more scene. We go back to 1994 to one of the many times that Jeanette went into Martin's house while she thought he was out. This time we see Jeanette enter the house, and a few moments later we hear Kate calling out for help from the basement. She begs to be let out, tells whoever it is that she is Kate Wallace. She's being held against her will. And Jeanette just smiles. And we know that she never said a word and even went to court to prove she never knew a thing. And that's the end of the season. Oh my God, after all this time of me rooting for Jeanette's name to be cleared and hoping that the little girl will triumph over money and clout, she did know that Kate was locked up at Martin's house and didn't do a dang thing about it. Wow. Now that puts a new tone over everything we've learned here so far. Final comments. I can't say that I've disliked what happened here. It might have been 1 or 2 episodes too long to tell this story, but they kept me on my toes till the end, so kudos to the writers here. And great praise to the actors involved. This is a really deep, twisting story that apparently doesn't give up till the end, and neither does this talent pool. I really did enjoy the contribution of every actor involved. I didn't always know why they were doing what they were doing, but their personalities and interactions I found very believable and endearing. I think the actor who plays Jeanette did an amazing job. Each year we get to see her at a different point in her character's arc, from the innocent brace-faced girl to the cute chick who thinks she has it all, to the angry bitch who nearly lost everything and isn't afraid to risk what little she has left in an attempt to clear her name. It sounds so dramatic when I say it like that. There is a big change in Jeanette's appearance from one summer to the next, so I like that there are so many references shown that Jeanette doesn't just wake up and look very different every year. From the discussion with her mom about transitioning from contacts to glasses, to her cleaning old clothes out of her closet while hanging out with Vincent, and then her getting her braces off, we see that she is going through an evolution throughout this timeline, and I think that they did this very well. Kate's character has less of an arc. She's mostly sad and then mad and only briefly happy, so she didn't get a chance to show much range, but she did a great job with her material, and I did enjoy her story. I'm not sure if Kate should have been more traumatized in 1994. She fell in love with a man who made her feel like he understood who she was, then became a prisoner of him, then had to kill him, and then spent a whole long time with his dead body. That should leave some marks on a person, but she doesn't really operate like someone who's taken a life, even out of necessity, and they never ever address this throughout her therapy, so I'm a little concerned. But I get it. It's one of the big reveals, so they couldn't have it come out in such a simple way as just a therapy session. And therapy is a journey. Maybe Kate isn't ready to talk about that yet, but I'm sure she and Sheila will get there eventually. Kate didn't get the same treatment that Jeanette did as far as us being able to see when and why she actually makes these changes to herself, and her changes are a little bit slighter. But I like that there was effort put into making each of the characters look different year after year. Teenagers look different about every 4 to 6 months, so I like that they made this feel a little bit more realistic as far as timeline goes. However, while doing this breakdown in a chronological way, I found a couple of issues. Like, what made Jeanette become the subject of rumors going around that she knew Kate was a prisoner of Martin Harris? Did I miss a scene? Or was a scene cut of someone saying this? I know Jeanette told Jamie about Joy's visit to the VP's office to ask where Kate was. The only way that would get around is if Jamie told someone. So if he did, why weren't we shown? Because it feels like this news comes out of nowhere when Derek is turned away from the garden party. But even before that, when Jamie punches Jeanette in the face when she comes out to see him after learning that Kate had been found, shouldn't he have said something like, "You knew where she was this whole time, didn't you?" As a way to remind us Jeanette told him Kate was missing, and also give him a reason to be violent with his girlfriend in front of their friends. Because that would really help me to understand if Jamie did tell others about this and word did get around, maybe even before Kate was found. And once she was found and started treating Jeanette like the enemy, it only added fuel to the fire. Perhaps I am just not picking up on the nuance, but I feel there should have been more of a whisper campaign being shown against Jeanette, and I feel like the producers really relied on the staggered timeline to avoid having a reveal scene. It is right at the very end of episode 1, after we meet everyone and get a hint of what kind of people they are, where we see Kate's appearance on the Marsha Bailey show where she calls Jeanette out, giving us the big reveal, but also making it look like the reveal happened a lot closer to Kate's rescue than it actually happened. So we go through the whole 1994 timeline knowing of the public accusation made on live television, but this interview didn't actually happen until October of 1994. Without giving us an actual reveal of the rumors about Jeanette going around before they started impacting the Turner family and using an out-of-sequence timeline to make up for the plot holes, I have to lower my ranking to 3 stars. I did like the story and the way that it was put together. The actresses were great. The support was great. It wasn't completely a predictable story, and it almost worked out. But just a few simple scenes cut into the very beginning of the 1994 timeline could have made this so much better. I could talk more about this, but this is probably long enough. I hope that you enjoyed this recap and review. Leave a comment if you think I'm off in my interpretations or missed something that would help me understand the show a little bit more. But that's all that I have for now. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy season 2 of this show. I hope I get this posted before that happens. Y'all stay safe out there.